Hi everybody, hope you are all good. We are here for various math. You can find all the lessons on Investing Master form. Have to not be able to work in the letters and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math on the subject tab, scroll down to PDF, and, and then click on the all lessons. There you can find the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter functions. The lessons we're going to cover today are identify functions, direct and satisfy value function, identify independent variables, and rate of change. Please be sure we have your notebook and pencil so that you can write down the important examples and definitions as well. When I was ready, I'll cover you on right now as functions. Let's just start with the first lesson that is iron functions. Look at the set of ordered pair. 8, 11, 14, 10, and 8, 19 is the relation of function. So the correct option is blue because the x value 8 is paired with a multiple value of y. So the relation is not a function. For the function, each x value maps to only one y value, right? So that is not a function. Let's just start with the test questions. Look at this set of ordered pair. Is this a function? So the correct option is no, that is not a function. This relation is not a function. You can see the x value 15 has to three different y values, so that is not a function. Look at this graph. Is this relation a function? Yes, it is a function. Option number two is the correct option. Look at this table. Is this relation a function? Yes, it is a function. Option number one is the correct option. If this relation a function means that is not a function. Look at the graph. It's a simulation of function, no, that is not a function. Why not that is a function? Oh, I see a total function. It is a function. At the table, is this a relation or function? Here is a function option of the correct option. Look at the set of ordered pair. Is this a relation or function? No, that is not a function. Yes, it is a function. Look at this table. You're looking for the language class? Yes, that is live. You can go see check them. Just refresh the play page. You can see the session there. Look at this table. Is this a relation or function? No, that is not a function. Right. Look at this. Is this a relation or function? Yes, it is a function. Look at the set of the ordered pair. Is this a relation or function? No, that is not a function. The correct option is option number B. And complete the lesson by yourself for every day. Let me just remember the next lesson. Okay, the next lesson is as xy satisfy the Linear function. So we are given a pair of values. We need to see if that pair of values satisfy the equation. The first example is does 2 6 makes the equation y equals 2 so the if order pair the first value is always x value. The second value is y value. Here is 3x, y is 6, and 3 times 2 to 6. Right? That means that on 5 people in y equals 6. Let's just start with the test questions. As 1 0 makes the equation 2, so y is equal to x. X is 1, y is 0. So 1 is 0 is not equal to 1 because y is x is 1. 0 is not equal to 4. The correct option is does the form 6 1 satisfies the y equals 6x? So it's 6 6 y is 1. Y is 1 and x is 6, right? So 1 is not equal to 26, so that means only the point is 1 satisfies the equation. The correct option also only. The correct option is no option. That is the correct. Does that point to satisfy the equation y equals x? The correct option is yes. Is 3 1 a solution to the equation y equals to x? The correct option is 3 1 is not a solution to the equation y equals to x. So the correct option is no. Does the form 4 0 satisfy the equation y equals to x? Suppose 0x is 4y z. No, that is not a solution. So the correct option is 1. Does the 6 satisfy the equation y equals x? The correct option is 9. Does the point 80 satisfy the equation y equals x plus 8? X is 8, y is 0. 0 equals 8 plus 8. The correct option is no option number 2 is the option. Does 0 makes the equation true? The correct option is yes. 0 makes the equation true. Is 6 3 a solution to equation y equals x? The correct option is that. Does the point 19 satisfy the equation? The correct option is yes. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself and let me just remember. Next lesson. The next lesson is independent. Identify independent variables. Let's just start with the lesson. Training is running buses for a school field trip. The number of buses needed depends on how many students are going on the trip. So B equals the number of buses needed and S equals the number of students going on the trip. Which of the variables is independent, which is dependent? You need to read this line again. The number of buses needed depends on how many students are going on the trip. So the buses are dependent on the number of students, right? So the buses are the dependent variable and number of students are the independent variable. The correct option is B is dependent variable and S is independent variable. The S is the B is the dependent variable, S is the independent variable. Let's just start with the test questions. Tisha works for a small company that sells books online and is responsible for mailing out the books to customers. Every morning she gets in line at the local post office and estimates the length of her wait. The more people in the line ahead of her, the longer she will have to wait. So that means her weight is dependent on the number of people in the line, right? So P is the independent variable and W is the dependent variable. Option number one is correct. Option P is independent and W is dependent variable. Kate is clearing space in the garden to plant some vegetables. The area available for planting will determine how many vegetables Kate can grow. So that means the plants are dependent on the area, right? Area is the independent variable, A is the independent variable, and A is the independent variable and B is the dependent variable. Option number two is the correct option. David brings reusable shopping bags from home whenever he goes to the store. The number of products on his shopping list influences how many reusable bags he brings to the store. So the number of bags are dependent on the number of products, right? So P is the dependent variable and P is the P is the dependent independent variable. Option number two is the correct option. Carrie is designing program for her daughter's high school graduation. The number of pages in each program is dedicated by the number of students. Carrie is designing programs for her daughter's high school graduation. The number of pages in each program is dedicated by the number of students. Which of the variable is independent and which is dependent? So the number of pages are depending on the number of pages. G is the independent variable of P is the dependent variable. Option number one is correct. Mario is having the carpets in his house to meet. The area of the carpets is used to calculate the cost of the cleaning. Which of the variable is independent and which is dependent? The area of the carpets is used to calculate the cost of the cleaning. So the area of carpet is dependent on the cost of cleaning. A is the dependent variable and C is the dependent variable. Option number two is the correct option. A is the independent variable and C is the dependent variable. Maria Foodwater receives payment from an advertiser each month. The amount of money she earns depends on how many sites visitors she receives each month. Which of the variables is independent and which is dependent? The amount of money is dependent. Amount of money is dependent on the number of visitors. So M is the dependent variable and P is the independent variable. Option number two is the correct function. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself with today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is rate of change. Jill was in charge of keeping attendance for a local summer camp each year. According to the table, What was the rate of change between 2011 and 2014? So the rate of change is change in value divided by change in time. Here is 2011 and here is 2014. 77 minus 86 is that is 9 and the tangent to that is negative 3. That is negative 3. Let's just start with the test questions. At Stepford Consulting, the head of human resources examined how the number of employees with healthcare benefits varied in response to policy changes. According to the table, what was the rate of change between 2009 and 2011? 2009 and 2012. So 41 minus 44 is negative 3, and the time change in time is 3. So that is negative 1 in per year. That is negative 1 employees per year. Option number 1 is the correct option. And the offshore is listed with the weight of the winning dog at recent shows. According to the graph, what was the rate of change between 2004 and 2006? 2004 and 2006. That is 35 minus 5 divided by 2. That is 30 divided by the correct option is 15. That is negative 15. Option number 2 is the correct option. Negative 15 kilograms per year. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. Whitney entered the amount she charged her credit card each month into a spreadsheet. According to the table, what was the rate of change between April and June? April and June. That equals $3 per month. The correct option is $3 per month. Option number one is correct. Each year, Newberry School District publishes its annual budget, which includes information on the sports programs per student spending. According to the graph, what was the rate of change between 2006 and 2008? 2006 and 2008. 69 minus 65 is 4 divided by 2. That is $2 per year is option number is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 8 math. The chapter we were working on is functions. The lessons we have covered by functions does x, y satisfy the minimum function, identify independent and dependent variables and rate of change. So please make sure that the next session you can complete only practice questions for the lessons. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can please have questions in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions or confusions if you have any. So please write down the question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your if you have questions.